Welcome to Current Exposure. I forgot to tell y'all that last week was the season finale, and that was the last show until September. I'll be back in September. So, unless I have some specials, I will have some specials in the summer where I will be going live. Current Exposure will be going live, but it may not be on a Thursday, it may be on a different day, and it'll be a special. But the regular programming season finale was last week. I'll be back. I'll be bringing on some new guests in September, doing more updates to the live stream and getting more people to interview and come on in Newark. Newark is such a it's a large city. We have over 300,000 residents here. Um, we the election was very interesting, so we covered that. We had people who came and they were running for office. So I hope to have some more people come on that work with the nonprofits and who also work with the students. I want to give a shout out to all the guests who came on this season. I really appreciate you giving your time. I appreciate the audience for tuning in, listening, watching, or doing both. So if anyone wants to get into the comments, you can, but we're not going to have a live stream today because I just pretty much came on to let you know last week was the season finale, and that is the wrap up until September. And again, or there'll be specials in between throughout the summer. Not a lot, maybe like I'm thinking like one or two, if that, the max three specials where I feel like compelled to come on and give you all information or expose you to someone or expose an issue that we have in the city of Newark or in the state or across the country and around the world. But it has been a pleasure. And let's see, some people have some podcasts starting up and going right now. So I wish them the best. And yeah, like hopefully they do their thing. In the meantime, I'll be back in September. We'll be back to regular programming on Thursdays in September. Hopefully, we can keep the live streams to an hour. Unless again, if it's good, then it goes over maybe no more than 2 hours. No, let an hour and a half because we were doing like some long shows. And yes, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much for tuning in. You're like one of the steady, consistent watchers and participants of the live stream. So, but yeah, I was just saying I'll be back in September, and I hope everyone enjoys their summer. Enjoy your children, enjoy your family. I might come on and do some information sessions too, because there's a lot of poverty going on in Newark, a lot of trauma bonding too. And I want to talk about how we need to move away and advance up out of that. And there's so much opportunity that is doable. It's definitely doable. People don't have to live like they have nothing, because there's definitely something out there as long as people put forth effort and they're following directions and not making up their own directions. So I did a needs assessment, and I seen that even with some of the candidates who ran for office, it was some of them were know-it-alls. Like they thought they knew everything, but they didn't know about the position they were running. And talking to them, I learned that. And then there was some very intelligent candidates who didn't get the shine that I felt like they deserved, because they did know the job that they were running for. They did know the pretty much the responsibilities and duties that went along with it. And you had seasoned people who I felt like should have got in, but they were overlooked because of a popularity contest. And then we also had people running who thought they were the greatest, and they've accomplished nothing, not even in their personal lives. So but people were running because that's what they felt like doing. So hopefully next elections, people be mindful, take some things into consideration, and be more knowledgeable too about the jobs that they're seeking. But again, and I hope that people are out here making efforts to get up out of poverty, to also press the people who are promising jobs and a better quality of life, hold them accountable to that. And if somebody says they're going to do something and don't do it, in my book, that's a liar. Simple as that. Simple as that. We don't need to sugarcoat it and say, oh, they're just not a person who tells the truth. They're a liar. Plain and simple. I don't live in a fairy tale land. And I don't think you should either, because that's how things get worse over a period of time when people are living in denial. So I hope also residents come up out of the denial phase and also realize that it may be some of those 60,000 plus people who are living in poverty in Newark that don't even know it or don't even realize it. And most of them are adults over the age of 50. So, but yeah, I wish them the best. And I wish that they have a reality check, and, people out here keep it real and hold those accountable to keeping it real. So with that said, I have nothing more to say until September or until one of these specials. All right. So I hope everyone enjoys their summer. Have a good time. Again, enjoy your family, and be good to each other. Stop being toxic and dysfunctional. Stop with the trauma bonding, because it's not building up the city. It's not building anyone up either. Oh, Quavella, good evening. I was just telling people last show last week was the season finale, but I forgot to make that known and announce that. So today, basically saying that. But yeah, that's it. I hope to connect with some people out in the streets, as I usually do too. Get you on. I have so many people that I was supposed to get on, but I opened up to the candidates. So I don't know if I'll do that again. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll see, because it got kind of crazy. I even have somebody send me a cease and desist that just, I don't know. I guess they thought it was going to do something and work and intimidate me throughout the election. They tried to blame me for the fact that their campaign was failing. His campaign was failing so bad. He tried to say I'm making him lose. No, you're making yourself lose, because you have no character And you're not a qualified candidate. You're not qualified to lead, period. I don't know. Yeah. Q, you enjoyed the show? Thank you, Q. Thank you. I hope I've been realistic and I've given people reality, and not just make them feel good, because I see some other people out here, saying things because it sounds good or they think that's what people want to hear. And I'm not here for that at all. Straight to the point, keeping it real all the time. Keep it, let's see. Oh, Q, you're welcome. I'm happy you were happy to be a guest. You're very welcome, and I appreciate you for coming on. I appreciate all of the guests for coming on. And if anybody, I got people who have accused me of being anti Barack administration. How about those people? I want to give them something to do. Ask the Barackas to come on my live stream. Tell them to come on and join me, and I'll treat them like any other guest that was on the live stream, and let them come on, do their thing, and we go from there. I'm more than open to that. Definitely open to that. Bring them on. They can come on. I don't have anything against them. I would love to hear their perspective. And it's going to go like how it goes with all my guests. Very cordial. And we're probably going to laugh and make some jokes and everything. Q say you gave many an opportunity to be on, and we appreciate that. Yes, you're very welcome. And I like I said, I appreciate all of the guests. There were guests that I couldn't get on that I really, really wanted to bring on. For an example, we have a beekeeper here in Newark, and he sells honey. I will bring him on in the next season, or I may do a special with him sometime like in the summer to bring him on, because I think what he's doing is very beneficial for the community. He's helping keep the bees alive, and we have a population issue with our bees, and I'm definitely a consumer of honey. I don't know about the rest of you, but I use honey in a lot of things that I eat and cook. My tea. I have like this special sauce, spicy hot wing sauce that I make with habanero peppers, and honey. So I'm definitely going to bring him on to show some love and to also share information about his beekeeping. I wanted to bring on Reggie of Reggie's Jerk Chicken to talk about his restaurant and how he started from his truck parked on the side of the road, and him pulling out his grill, and then he worked it up until he now has a store where he sells the jerk chicken out of. I definitely wanted to bring him on. Who else I have? I wanted to bring Naima Jones on, who started a nonprofit group home for little girls, and it's basically a foster home. She won a $25 million lawsuit against the Division of Child Protection and Permanency, also known as DIFAS, and she used the money to start up a foster home for girls. I think that was very amazing and is noteworthy and something that we should talk about. And I wanted to talk about her experience in foster home care and how she ended up bringing this lawsuit and why. I think she has an interesting story. You wasn't biased at all. Yes, I treat my guests good. Now, what happens in the comments, I have no control over. I have no control over, and it's also real life too. You got to let that rock. If people are asking questions in the comments, and hey, this is what the audience wants to know. This is what someone in the audience said. What are your thoughts about that? Or do you have any thoughts? Can you give us some insight? Or, like respond how you think is appropriate. That's it. Ms. Leek says, thank you for sharing this space with us to receive good, informative content. Enjoy your summer. Yes, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your summer as well. Enjoy your family. And I'm stressing family because people, you have to appreciate your family. You have to appreciate each other. You have to. You have to. And you have to love yourself too. Love yourself, love the people that you're around and whose company you're in, and work towards being good to each other so that you can make positive contributions. It's not always about trying to get over. It's not always about trying to set somebody up. It shouldn't be about you trying to compete with somebody to the point of destroying them. For what? And I've been seeing a lot of that in Newark, and I've also been seeing people getting mad because you won't dumb yourself down. How could you if somebody's thought frequency is on another page or on another level, just respect that. Just respect it. You shouldn't attack it. You shouldn't try to bring them down. You shouldn't try to make somebody come to down to your level. Level up. Level up. There's nothing wrong with leveling up. I like being around people who know more than me because that inspires me and motivates me to push myself harder. I don't take it as I don't feel insecure or take it as, oh, this person is trying to put me down. But then there's some people that do try to do that. And they know. But, I don't hang around those people. And you all shouldn't hang around them either. But if it's your family, you all try to level up and build each other up. And have respect for people. If you're dealing with someone that's a brainiac, don't get mad if they don't want to do dumb stuff like stand outside in front of the corner store all day. Don't be mad at them. Don't be mad at them. Level up. Level up, because realistically, what is that doing for anybody? You're loitering. You're loitering. And I think people should also learn the rules of the games that you want to play and then play them. Stop playing these games that you don't even know the rules and getting mad because you're losing. Level up. Level up. Level up. And I'm going to be real honest about this one. I gotta say it. I gotta say it. You cannot get rich. You cannot be a millionaire and you're on welfare. Just stop. Stop. Stop talking about you're crazy. Just stop talking about it. I'm tired of hearing about that. Just do things that makes a millionaire. And being on welfare and fighting your caseworker, that's not going to do it. That's not going to build, and that's not going to build the community. and support the businesses. If you like a business, support it. If you like a candidate, support them all the way through. Stop looking at it as, oh, what's in it for me? What am I going to get out of it? When you support people, they'll circle back and they'll make sure they take care of you. But I see a lot of half-ass support or half stepping, and people expecting stuff in return, and when they don't get it, they're mad because that person soared and went to the next level without them. Now they feel like they're owed something that they didn't really work for. You weren't a consistent supporter. Fuji is laughing. But yeah, like, let's talk about that real quick. Just level up. Go to a higher frequency. Hello, Dwight. How are you? Yes, respect. Okay, Q. For Councilwoman next term, 2030, I need supporters for that. I need people to really, like, if that's what people want, I need the support. I need the team. Hey, like, I'm willing to sit down and talk about it. But I'm not going to jump out there, because that's the other thing. People were out there without a team. Some people's hearts were in the right place. I feel them, but just because your heart is in the right place doesn't mean what you're doing is competent and going to lead to success. And basically, some people were running for their health. It was a diverse pool of candidates, a diverse pool. All right, Q, come home for it. Come home. I definitely need you on the team, and I would appreciate having you too. Definitely, because I know you know what you're doing and you're passionate about this and talking to residents and getting people out there to vote. I do want to see more of that. I do want to see more people voting. And during the needs assessment, I also took inventory in the fact that people were not voting because they didn't care about what was going on. They didn't really know about what was going on. And they didn't understand the impact of not voting. And also, there was a lack of outreach from organizations that sign people up to vote. I mean, if you're signing people up to vote, why not tell them about the elections? Why not tell them what the job, the responsibilities and duties are? Like, for an example, we had one candidate go to a Essex County commissioners meeting to talk about SNAP benefits being skimmed, and was completely at the wrong office. He didn't even do his research, but yet he wanted to lead residents. Like, lead them to where, if you don't even know where you're going? And he had some people actually voted for him, and and that's unfortunate, but that's what happens. You have people who suffer from intellectual disabilities, and they voted for that person that represented their thought capacity too. It was like 8-year-olds voting for 8-year-olds. And that's because the outreach wasn't done, and they didn't understand the importance. They just seen it as a popularity contest, because that's as far as their critical thinking went. Like, the elevator wasn't going all the way up for them. And again, you have organizations out here that claim and have a mission to engage voters and constituents, and they're not doing the outreach. Fuji live. No, Fuji, you know it. You know it. It's like I'm not voting for. I'm not letting a doctor operate on me without looking at their credentials, without looking at other people and talking. In some cases, if I can't talk to other people that they've done surgery on, I'm not just going in there trusting that. And you have some people who do and will because that person looks good, sounds good, and put the sweet nothings in their ear. And so they just go with it and they risk it all. And unfortunately, that's sad. But again, the lack of outreach by these organizations that claim to do outreach and engage voters. I think I'll be straight up about them. They're lazy and they're liars. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Because you're not going to tell me you engage voters and then you have no evidence of that. I haven't seen you out in the community. The people haven't seen you out in the community. But yet you pop up and do a forum, a candidates forum. You gotta watch out who y'all believe information from, and you gotta hold them accountable. Q says a lot of candidates didn't have a lot of support. Right. And that's telling in itself too. You have to ask yourself, why don't they have support? What's going on here? And start digging deeper and asking questions. Because if they don't have support, why would I want to support? That's like the person that's claiming to be a doctor and they want to do surgery on me, but they have no credentials. I can't even look you up to see if you're certified by a body of professionals that certifies you, and you still have a group of people that feel like, oh, you don't need all of that, but you do, to protect the profession, to protect the body of knowledge. And those people pull others in and give others the stamp of approval, like this person knows what they're doing. Like when I went and graduated from college, when you look at my transcripts and the grades, this shows that I know what I'm doing. And I'm not outside of my lane. You have people outside of their lane and other people's lanes. And, you got one former councilman that lives out of state, and he's doing a whole podcast. I didn't know he wasn't in any journalism school that I went to or mass media programs that I was in, but now he's an expert in journalism. And he's talking about what's going on in Newark, but he's not talking about what's going on where he lives, who he's voting for, and how that works, and then connecting with Newark as an extended community. He's just like, I call people like that the thought police. But good luck to him, Right. Certified by word of mouth. You gotta watch out for these people. You gotta watch out for them. Even like, for an example, people who said I should run for councilwoman, and I have run in the past, and I didn't run just because I woke up and felt like I wanted to do that. People have suggested it to me, and I took it serious. A councilwoman who passed away suggested that, and some other officials outside of Newark. And I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to do that, I need to do my research first. I actually went to candidate school. Like, there's a candidate's school. There's schools where candidates can go and learn how to run. And in that, I was trained by one of the top consultants for campaigns. Shout out to Mr. Shea, because he basically trained me down at Rutgers in New Brunswick at the it was, I forgot the name of it. It's the politics school of something. I have to look it up. But yeah, I actually went and learned how to run. I actually went and looked at ordinances, looked at legislation, talked to some attorneys about it and how it goes. And I also participated in city council meetings, not just to air my grievances out or give commendations to elected officials and their staff or whatever, but I was engaging in the process. I was actually practicing what I was learning. It was a live and learn experience. Thank you, Dwight. Yeah, Fuji Thomas says one fool leads another fool. Right. It was crazy. Ms. Leek says, yes, we have to step up our voting and do more work. I plan on carrying them forms in several languages to these house music festivals where we're outside in huge numbers. Right. And you know what? Like, you can go anywhere. You don't have to wait until there's a council meeting and engage them. Why engage them? They already know. But do the people at the house festivals know? What do you know? Those are the events that you go to. And again, I didn't see anybody. The clubs. You're outside the clubs, just giving people information or letting them know, hey, I know y'all out here trying to have a good time, but here's some information on voting. Check it out. Or I'm having, a community meeting and I would like you to come and learn some stuff. This is how you can find me. And that's the type of stuff I do all the time. But I didn't see those so-called people that's out there and engaging voters. I didn't see them because we would have seen a surge. Some people said they registered 2,000 people, 3,000 people. But how come those people didn't show up and vote? That, again, half-ass, half-stepping. And we got to bring the realness back too. We got to bring the realness back and stop playing. Chase says, Shakima, when are you allowed to return to the Golden Dome? You are organic Nord. Shay, I'm working on it. I got something cooking. Stirring in a pot. I don't know yet, but hopefully, cross my fingers. Hopefully, by the end of the year, before the end of the year, actually, before the end of the year. If not, then I'm going to keep trying. I haven't given up though. So yes, in case anybody didn't know, I'm so good and so in tune in my rights that I've been banned from city council meetings. The ban was quite unconstitutional. And people will be held accountable. I don't know if they thought they weren't going to be, if they thought they were going to get away with it, but my rights were violated and that has to be addressed. I'm going to continue living and I'm going to continue doing live streams and showing up, but please know in the background, things are moving. I'll put it to you like that and I'll keep you posted and I'll let you know. Let's go to Farrakhan Sawab. He said, I suggest that no one votes for a person. They can't say they know registered at least or help to register at least 1,000 people to vote. And Che said, sensitive establishment, thank you for graduating. I am back in college to complete. Yes, please get that paper. And I salute you too, Che. You are intelligent. You're also passionate about the community. Even when you would come up, you would do your research. You're rare. You're rare. You're rare. We do have people who are rare like yourself that have a wealth of knowledge. Like when you remind me of like my father. He knows a lot of stuff because he reads, and he didn't necessarily graduate from college, but he used to go with his friends to college and sit in on the classes. And of course, the professors, they don't really know who's in the class and they're not checking, but he kind of got some free education. But he's that type of think out of the box type of person, that would do something like that, like show up to the class and not be enrolled and being there learning and engaging with a syllabus. And the professor gives you the book on a syllabus, so now he knows which book to check out or order to read so that he knows what's going on. Che also says, I salute Newark people like you who completed university. I have to complete my degree. Yolanda Snowden, this is a woman we need to support because she is organic. I try to be. Q says, that's right. Usually before a candidate runs, they work on others' campaigns. And that too. Let me tell you the people's campaigns I volunteered for. And I kind of was like a fly on the wall. I volunteered for Salonia Saxton's campaign in Hillside when she ran for mayor. She was very close to getting it. I can't remember the year off the top of my head right now, but I have the t-shirt. I volunteered for whose else campaign? I'm trying to think. I volunteered for Tammy Williams campaign, but in West Orange. I did more lit drops for her though. So I have that, I know how to do these lit drops and do them with precision. And it's about timing too with the lit drops. Who else's campaign did I volunteer for? I'm trying to remember because, and then I volunteered for the campaigns in 2026 in Newark. I'll let y'all guess and figure those out. I'll leave that a mystery. 70s bus stand up, yes. Share this damn show for transparency now. Yes. Good evening, William Hathaway. Katina Leak says, where they at though? LOL, all those 2,000 registered voters. Right. Listen, for a ward, if anybody had 2,000 registered and they voted, they would have got in. And those people didn't. That person that said that did not get in. Yep, being a member of the public is not right. It's not, but they do it. But we gotta go through the legal route. We gotta do it the right way to get back in. I've done more than what I needed to do to request being let back into the under the Golden Dome. I like that too, Che. Golden Dome. Let's see. No, I did. Q said, did you volunteer for RAS? No, I did not volunteer for RAS. Those were the years I was actually running. I did school board. I volunteered. I did phone banking for Hillary Clinton back then. Who else did I volunteer? I did two volunteer. I volunteered on Hillary's campaign twice, two of her campaigns. And who else? No, I didn't do RAS. Let me see. They probably would have loved me though, but you know what? I can't volunteer for people whose mission I'm not completely aligned with. So when I did check out his campaign. It was something that was said at one of the meetings, the recruiting meetings, that I didn't feel too comfortable with back then, and it bothered me because it kind of it made me feel like it related to one of my relatives, and I'm not going to cut my relatives off because of you feel like they're taking over. So I'll leave that right there, and people probably could figure out what that means, what I mean by that. It was said a whole lot, and now they're getting locked up for these same people. Yeah, yeah. And I don't agree with getting locked up, especially if they didn't follow the law. I don't understand how we break the laws for certain people, and if you do something, you're held accountable, or you have to surrender your rights or compromise your rights for somebody else's ego, or for somebody else to feel comfortable. And I really don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that. Q says I volunteered for Raz his first term. Oh, I did volunteer for Gail Cheney Field too, but I was that was back in 2018. I was running, but I was also a fan, so I like the fact that she knows how to be an elected official. She knows basically the policies and procedures, the rules of the game. So yeah, she's really good at it. She's really good at it. Definitely good at it. So I learned a lot from her. I learned a lot. You know what? Actually, I did a whole lot of learning from her than anything. Like, she is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to politics, for sure. Definitely, for sure. What else? Let me see. And Q said, and Pat Council, his first term, I always loved politics. Fuji said, exactly, 100. So yeah, we'll see what the future holds. We're going to probably continue to have the candidates who run for everything, and that's another thing. The candidates who run for every single office, they run for school board, then they turn around and running for district leader, then they turn around and running for mayor or city council, and then they turn around, they're running for Congress. It's like, do you even see what that looks like? You're all over the place. And I think Mayor Raz, when he wouldn't do the debate initially because he said they were not credible, I don't think every candidate fit that description. Some of them did. But I think he should at least did a debate with, I would say, Jamar Youngblood, at least Jamar Youngblood, because he was out there, he was popular. I would have loved to see like an intellectual debate, really, not anything back and forth, but asking real questions to see what each of these mayoral candidates know about the job. And then Mayor Raz could have went on and talked about what his accomplishments were, real accomplishments, and things that he didn't do too well in, and how he would turn those things around. And then we could have also listened to Youngblood talk about what he knew about being a mayor of a city and what he didn't know, and why people should give him that opportunity. Very quick. Subliminal drop. Right. Because I don't. Yeah. I can't say too many names. I want to make them famous, but I don't know. Let them text me and call me, and then I'll be like, all right, next time I'll say your name, and then I'll run down the whole list. Let them open that up. And William Hathaway said people who complain, they just don't vote. Right. You had a lot of people complaining. A lot. A mass amount of complaints. And you know what? I gotta be fair with Mayor Raz. They were complaining. They were. And they did not do anything with their vote. And they could have. That vote could have knocked a lot of candidates out. A lot of candidates could have been knocked out. Like that. And I'm talking about incumbents. But people didn't use their vote because they forgot, or they're gonna get in, they're gonna get back in anyway, or the next person is going to get in and do the same thing. And you know what? That brings me to this. When people are running for office, get to know them. Get to know what type of person they are. How do they interact with their family? How do they really interact in the community? What are they really doing? And you know what? Let me say shout out to Christina Cherry. She was a really, really good candidate, but I feel as though she didn't get the shine that I felt like she deserved because of the popularity contest and the fact that not enough people were giving her credit for what she was actually doing in the community and what she really created. So and that was wild to me. It was that she was trying to get the community to get to know her, and the community wasn't trying to get to know her. And it's like, you got to get to know the candidates. And it was some people who they didn't even check at all. They didn't look into their background at all, or if they even had credentials, or if they even had a GED. And suppose one of those people really got in. I'm going to be honest, and that's what I talk about, going backwards or dumbing myself down. I could never vote for a person like that. And people will say, oh, you're being judgmental, this and that. No, I'm being discerning. I'm not voting for a dummy. I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not. And I don't feel like a dummy is capable of leading me. If you don't know where you're going, how are you going to lead me? Like, I'm a person with like a higher level of thinking. A higher level of thinking. Like, I'm employed. I have a small business. I own my own home. And I did this using my mind. So you can't talk to me about solving a housing crisis if you're homeless and you're running. That makes no sense to a person like me. And it won't make sense. It shouldn't make sense to them. But somebody told them they have a right to run. Yeah, you got a right to run, but you don't have a right to win. It's not guaranteed. And I was vocal about that too. And that person, they felt like I was being judgmental. Oh, well, I'll take that, because now you're not even on my thinking level if that's what you think. I'm being realistic. Why would I vote for you? Why would you even run? That makes no sense. You have the mental capacity of an 8-year-old. That's like what we got in the president's office. You know, like this man talks about Barack Obama all day, every day. You don't have nothing else better to do with this country? Forget him. But yeah, those were the people that were running. Amina Anabui says the board election and mayor were a disappointment on the turnout. I agree. Farrakhan said Miss Cherry didn't have the results from the things she had been doing in the community to present. That lack is what hurt her. Hey, Queen. And shout out to Queen. Queen was doing great things and is still doing great things. Queen says there's more that ran that keep running and never went. Right. That's what I'm saying. And they get mad and they come up with this fantasy of how nobody supports them. And it's like, do you even support your own self and your mental health? Because at this point, this is getting crazy. It's getting very crazy. And, you know, nope. They weren't seeing it like that. They were seeing it as an attack on them, and it's not an attack, judgment. And it's like, let's even deal with the judgment. We all judge. Let's just say that. We all judge to a certain degree because you have to use your better judgment. You have to. If you don't use your better judgment, you'll be voting for somebody with that's an adult but has the mental capacity of an 8-year-old. And I'm not trying to be governed by an 8-year-old. That's just not going to work for me. And it's not going to work for the other adults who have the mental capacity of an 8-year-old either, because what can they really accomplish? If your brain does not think past a certain point, you need to be assisted. You need to be saved. You can't save people. And, you know, you have these people with these unrealistic goals out here doing that. Yep. Like you said, Queen, just a waste of time. Wasting time when they can get behind a serious candidate who has some credentials, who has a body of work behind them. And let me say this too. What disturbed me too about some candidates is that I do volunteer work, right? And I have slowed down because people start taking advantage. But there was a point where I was doing computer classes, and some people who were in my computer classes at the Newark Public Library when the Victoria Technology Center was where the James Brown African American Room is, some of the audience on Current Exposure, they were in my class, and that's how I know them. And I was teaching them how to create Gmail accounts, create documents in Microsoft Word. And we had it was a whole classroom with a projector screen set up, the computers laid out. And most of them that were coming though were seniors, and I'm glad that they came. So I say that because that was my volunteer work that I chose to do because I know computers to a certain extent, and I know about the digital divide, and I wanted to pretty much share this with my community because they like the cost of something like that is pretty expensive. And the library at the time, they were allowing me to do this. The only reason I would have kept going, the only reason why I stopped is because they were tearing down the Victoria Technology Center, and they were doing something with the area, and then eventually it was the James Brown African American Room. But a lot of those candidates never did volunteer work for their community. A lot of them, some did. And those are the ones that I like. Those are the ones that I gravitated towards. But other ones, like, you made zero contributions. And I used to do this on a Saturday morning. Wake up and go. I remember, you could probably ask my mother. I would wake up Saturday morning, dressed up like I'm going to work, but really I was going to the Victoria Technology Center, and I was going in there teaching computer classes, basic computing. And she would be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm helping my community. I'm help. This is my contribution to help lessen the digital divide." So now we have people who don't even know how to complete a job application because it's on a computer. I'm not doing those classes anymore right now, but my whole point is, what volunteer work has, like, these candidates done? Some of them none. So that to me made me think about, oh, you in it for yourself. You in it for yourself. Queen says, make sure you all come out to support the babies vending at McDonald's on Saturday in East Orange. What time, Queen? What time? Ms. J says, hello, everyone. Free tickets for July 1st inauguration at NJPAC. They have a lot available. Yes, make sure you get your tickets. Go down to NJPAC at 1 Center Street to the box office and tell them you would like a ticket to the July 1st inauguration for the city of Newark. All right. So those of you who want to go, make sure you get your ticket. I hope to see y'all there. I will be at the July 1st inauguration. I may go live. I have to see if my technology will work, because I need a Wi-Fi connection that's strong and stable. Otherwise, it glitches, it drops out, and all that kind of stuff when I'm out in the street. But yes. Queen says mental illness is at an all-time high, right? We have people who are mentally ill trying to lead us. And I'm like, this is crazy. And people don't even know. Like, they think these people genuinely care about the community. And when you be around these people, when you be around them, like for me, when I'm around people, I observe, I interact, and when I go home, I process that. Because, like, we're actually, like, the computers are created in our image, but they can be tuned to think faster. But yeah, like, there's some processing going on, and I'm like, this person isn't right. William Hathaway, yes, the tickets are at NJPAC. You go down to 1 Center Street to the box office. I believe they open at 12 noon. At noon. Savannah says facts. Yes. And we gotta be real. We have to be real. Do you want change? And if so, start, like, when these candidates come around, ask them questions, talk to them. Don't try to ask questions just to be like a jerk and trip them up. Ask them, like, be real. Like, we got to get our community back. We got to get back into a habit of being communal. And that starts with ourselves first. We got to have that self-love and self-care. Like, if you're not mentally well, you should not be running. That's self-care. Because what you're doing to yourself is destructive. It's self-destruction. And if you're capable of self-destruction, that is capable, you're capable of doing it outwardly to others, whether you want to or not. It's just, that's just you. Queen said, big shout out to Pull Up for Peace. It was amazing in Atlantic City. We need to be a part of all spaces to understand what's really going on. I met some amazing people from all over. Oh, yeah, Eden. Yes, Eden Rivera. He was another candidate that I felt like didn't get enough shine. And he was somebody that definitely deserved votes, and that definitely would have been a good councilman. I hope he continues to stay at it. He's very knowledgeable. He does his research too. He doesn't just, what I like about him, he sits back, he observes, he talks to people, he engages, and then he lets you know what he thinks. He pulls it all together. He doesn't just jump out there, and he's not trying to like be seen like, look at me, I'm running. No, he's more like, I think there's a better way we can do this, and this is the way I think will work. So yeah, I feel like he was definitely one of the overlooked candidates too. That I think people should have given more of a chance to learn about him, take that opportunity, make that effort, people, make that effort. Queen says she's ready for 2030. And Katina Leak says volunteering is the best experience to help contribute to the community. Right. It is. It is. You meet people, like I said, people. And you know what? When I ran in 2018, those same people too that I was teaching computers to at the library were people who voted for me because they actually interacted and engaged with me. Queen said facts. Yep. Amina Anubi says we all have something to share with the community, and I agree with that. Even the people that I'm talking about whose thoughts only, or whose thoughts on are that of an 8th grader. I mean, of an 8-year-old. Excuse me. They have something to contribute. They really do. But it's not being a council person. Is they're way out of their element, and somebody has to be real with them. And it's sad that people pump them up knowing that that's not right. Like, why would you do that to that person? That's like somebody saying, and I'm being realistic, but that's like somebody saying, yeah, we're gonna put Oogie up to run for mayor. Why would you do that? That makes no sense. But these were the people out there running, and you had people who knew better pumping that up. Suppose somebody like Oogie became the mayor, then what? You know, like, how would that have helped the community? Being realistic. And it's not being mean, it's being realistic. Amina says, I wish more people would share. Thank all of you that I know and don't know personally for all that you do in the city of Newark. I do too. Q says, please go live. All right, I'm going to try my best to go live at that inauguration. And Queen says, yes, it's a shame, and they think they are normal. And it's people who know that pumps that. You know, I'm not even going to say names, but it was a school teacher. Somebody who was a school teacher and also an administrator that was seriously promoting and supporting somebody's campaign. And I'm like, it made me look at that person totally different. I can't even look at him the same. Like, What it makes me think, what kind of education were you doing in the schools? If you would promote some trash, you promoting trash. That means you don't care about this community at all. And I feel like people like that, they're a little dangerous. They're destructive too. Mark Reddick, thank you for asking that. He says, how do you know they are mentally unstable? Well, I have a colleague. I'm going to call this individual a colleague because they are a colleague who is a professional. And all I would have to do is bring that person around and they can do a read, like they're behavioral specialists. So they can read and diagnose and let me know about these people. And yes, I heavily lean on her because I need to know who's in my community, what's going on with them, and who's around me too. And how do I navigate with these people? And how, yeah. So I'm glad you asked that. So yes, I have a professional that I consult with and that I talk to, and who's also a member of the community. So yeah, and I love her for that. Shout out to her if she's watching. So that's how I know. So no, I'm not making a diagnosis. I'm not the professional. But yeah, and then also I go by how they make me feel. And then, if somebody's changing up their hair every week, it's not cultural. It's not cultural. There's something deeper going on. And this friend of mine also taught me how to read people as well. And I use that. So thank you for asking that. So I got that's my secret weapon. And Queen says I process while having a conversation with them. Yep. Queen says we need to be in all rooms, meetings, and conferences. I get it. Mark Reddick says people can't handle being real. Oh well, then they need to get up out the kitchen because it's hot. William Hathaway says we have a big election in November midterms. I agree. And Miss Pamela McElveen is watching. Shout out to you, Miss McElveen, and everything that you do in the community. Much respect and appreciation. And Merc So Saucy says Donna Jackson 2030 for mayor. All right, let's see. Queen says I need to run again. The event at McDonald's in East Orange for the kids is this Saturday. We need you to support. It's from 12 to 4 p.m. 12 to 4 p.m. All right? Make sure you all get out there. And Fuji Thomas says hands-on knowledge. That's right. And also, if you have children or adults that would love to vend, please contact Queen. All you have to do is click her in the comments, go to her profile, and then message her. Queen said the teachers today are not the same. No, they're not. And shout out to all of my teachers. Except for a few. Shout out to all of my teachers that were good. I want to give a shout out to all of my math teachers. Majority of them were actually men and they were really good. Shout out to Mr. Hankerson. Awesome. Shout out to Mr. Corrali. Awesome. They taught me how to count and do algebra and calculus. You can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong. Shout out to them. Shout out to Ms. Johnson, my English teacher at Link Community School. Shout out to her. She was amazing. Taught me how to write, taught me how to use appropriate and accurate grammar. Shout out to her. She also lives in the community as well. Yeah, teachers were good back then. And Fuji Thomas says small conversations can tell a life story. Give them 15 minutes of it. Yes. So yeah, that's the behavioral specialist. That's all she needs. And no matter we're all like unique, but we all are similar too in our mannerisms, things that we do. So those professionals that's into studying behavior, the psychologists, the psychiatrists, the behavioral specialists, yeah, they know how to read people instantly. Instant. They're good. They're really good. And Queen says, yeah, they have the ability to turn up at any given moment of losing a conversation. Yeah, outbursts. That's not normal. That's not normal. Yeah, we're all from Newark, but bursting out and ready to fight somebody, that's called a lack of self-control. And if you have a lack of self-control, it's not, especially over something that's not that serious, something's going on up here. Katina says studying psychology and sociology will help you discern as well. Right. So, and that's also I studied sociology at Rutgers when I was doing journalism. Shout out to Professor Sloan. If anyone knows it or has gone to Rutgers University in Newark, the School of Social Work, you learn a lot. Like I said, we're unique, but certain mannerisms and social behavior, we tend to do the same thing. It's like when a song comes on and everybody goes crazy, that right there is an indicator that's their song. They all know that song. They're all linked by that song, and they start singing, and then also you can tell, okay, these people have a relationship with each other. So yeah, you watch the actions. The actions are huge. Amina says, I feel the same way. Integrity and self-control is important. The absence of either is an issue for me. Yep. Like when yep. Mark Reddick said, that's an opinion. If that person doesn't examine and diagnose a person, they ain't qualified to make that statement. Well, neither are you, because you're not a behavioral specialist. You see how that works? Neither are you. Your opinion, you're giving your opinion too, and some will listen and some won't. That's just the way it goes. But you know what? A lot of the persons that were read is spot on. She could probably read you too. Amina Anabui says, I love educators, and Q says, yes, I love my educators as well. They care. Yep, they care. And Queen says, I thank God for constantly showing me self-control. And Queen, like, I gotta give you your props and your respect, because all the things that you could have done to people, you didn't. Because you do have self-control. You have an immense amount of common sense, and you have love for the people. And I appreciate you for that. And I appreciate you for showing that too. And showing people, you don't even gotta be crazy. You don't have to, and that doesn't make you more or less Newark than anybody. Being crazy, yeah, that doesn't do that. Oh yes, and also you're spiritual too, because yep, like you said, God has a bigger plan for you and you understand it. Shout out to Mark Reddick. I like this guy. I like this guy. I would love for your person to try and read me. Yeah, she's pretty good. She can't do it over the social media though. It got to be in person, face to face. And Queen says, "Thank you so much. I love you, sis. I love you too. Like you really, you were being a role model out there. You were really being a role model, and this is what our kids need. And I love what you're doing with McDonald's and the children, and just really giving back. You are appreciated no matter what other people say. I just think those people don't understand what you're doing. They don't understand the plan that you feel like God has for you. And it's not for them to understand, because that's between you and God and the children that you're uplifting. It matters in that circle, and it matters to people like me that sees that and they're watching, and it motivates us too to keep doing what we're doing. So yeah, you shouldn't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. And shout out to Dwight Allen. You gotta come on. You're awesome too. You're awesome. All the audience, the listeners, the viewers, you all are awesome. And Amina Anubi says we are all learning and growing. Right. And that right there, that's important. We're learning and growing, and people who don't want to do that, you gotta, we not tolerating that. And it's not that you have to go and stay away. No, just go get yourself together, then come back to the group like you have some sense, or come back and get in your lane. That's all. Get in your lane so that we could go to the next level as a community. And I think that's what we all want. We all want. And then Amina says some use community and others use it for self. Thank you all. Yeah. Yep. Katina says, shout out to Take the Vote Queen. Yes. And Queen said, I'm glad you are saying names, please, because careful. I'm not saying certain names. They know who they are. As our teachers would say, they know who they are. And you can sit up there and who you talking to? Who you talking to? Y'all know who y'all are. They know. Like one time my son did something, and it was just me and him in a house. And 8-year-old, when he was 8, yeah, he did a lot of stuff when he was 8. Just figuring life out. I'll give it to him. But yeah, and I said, yeah, people know what they be doing in here. People know they made a mess and people need to clean it up. And he's looking around like it could possibly be somebody else other than him. And then he has the nerve to say, who are you talking about? And I was like, you need to go sit down and think about who, because it's only 2 people in here, me and you. I didn't do it. You know I didn't do it. So how about you go sit over there and you figure out who I'm talking about? And then he stepped off, and then he comes back 10 minutes later apologizing about the mess that he made and how it was him. Yeah, I knew it was you. You knew it was you. Right. Yeah, right, Queen. Yes, they do. We have to continue being the change we want to see. Right. So let them go and think about what they did. Let the individual who blamed his losing campaign on me, and I guess he thought he was going to sue me. I don't know. That was wild. That was unrealistic. But again, the mind of an 8-year-old, you got to just let them do and go and figure it out for themselves. I'm not entertaining that. Mark Reddick says sometimes we have to hear and just ignore, just get an idea of a person's thoughts and morals. Everything doesn't need your response and energy. That's true. I agree. It doesn't. And that's why I gotta give Queen the biggest shout out, because things that she could have gave her energy to, she was like, please, I'm over here doing this, and she's elevating. I seen her new she was shooting the video with the crew at the conference. Yeah, like that's good. Still going and doing work with the kids at McDonald's. And I see that it is going. It's going. And I like to see that, and we got to support that, and it supports our youth too. It definitely supports our youth, and it shows them a better path. And I believe our kids should be smarter than us in the future so that they can take care of us. And that's how civilizations grow and evolve too, when your youth is smarter. And they have opportunities to expand their minds and their thoughts and intellectual capacities, and they don't have people trying to keep them dumb or forcing them to revert and dumb down. Katina Leak says, I spoke to someone last night in a community meeting and got a harsh, nonchalant response. So I could definitely relate to the mental illness and hate, and it's sad. Won't receive my energy anymore, only prayers for their dysfunction. Right. So yeah, and you know what? I've been challenging people online. I have. And in 2020, the next year, I said, this is my last year. I have to work on that, because I realized I'm wasting my time with them, because they're not going to get it. They're not going to understand. Like, for an example, I seen something so sick about, there's a serious court case with Carmelo Anthony and what the other kid, Metcalf, I think that's his last name, that was stabbed, and he ended up passing away or dying. I seen kids online pretending that they were the kid that got stabbed, and they were stabbing themselves and making a joke. And I'm like, wow, like, this is this what the kids are doing? They are dumb as hell for that. And they're doing this challenge online, and I'm like, I don't want none of those kids leading my community at all. Yeah, and I'm like, this is a serious situation, where one, like, this, like, two families are destroyed, and there's some debate, and there's some funniness around race that I believe is going on. I really do. I really feel like the punishment was super harsh, because I know, like, people who have intentionally gone to Black boys in Newark and blew their brains out and only got 15 years. And I felt like, damn, intentionally blew their brains out, and they're going to be out in 10 years. And then when they get out, they do it again to somebody else. But this kid was defending himself. Definitely was some racial tension, I believe, going on. And I think spaces like that isn't safe. And I think if a black kid was stabbed, I think it would have went differently. Right. And yeah, right. I agree with Fuji Thomas making it harder for that kid, Carmelo Anthony. And making it as a statement, as if this is what the black community feels, the black youth community feels, and that's not true. And I think it's already a dangerous situation for Carmelo Anthony. He's not even that type of kid that should be in jail, but he's going to be in jail with real killers. And yeah, what those kids were doing, it wasn't cool. And I do believe, yeah, he is a victim. He's a victim too. He's a victim of racial bias, racism in this country. And it's unfortunate, like, if you end up defending yourself and making a decision like that as a kid, let's even think about it. Like, his frontal lobe 17 is not fully developed. So I don't think his intent was to kill. He just felt like, don't touch me, I'm gonna defend myself, poke. But unfortunately, this kid died, but then he was waived up as an adult, charged as an adult. And I really didn't want to talk about this on here, but the conversation brought it to that point. But yeah, so he's being treated like a monster, when I really think he made a bad decision, and he's been made an example. And I don't think, like, the racial tension is gone, and people are like, oh yeah, you can't just stab somebody, you gotta meet equal force. It gotta be equal force met with equal force. I remember when I was in high school, and there was a fight outside, turned into a brawl. Everybody started fighting, and somebody threw a boom box. I don't even know where the boom box came from, but the boom box went flying in the air and hit somebody in the head and gave them a concussion. What if that person would have died? They could have died from that. But luckily they didn't. But this is how, when you're a teenager and you're out there fighting, you're not trying to kill anybody. That wasn't the intent. People are just, trying to defend themselves. They don't want to get beat up. So that person in that particular situation threw a boombox. So and I think it was similar to with Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, modern day slavery. Yeah, we got reformed slavery. So yeah, but again, going back to those kids acting like they were getting stabbed and dying was real corny and real stupid. It was nothing funny about it. It wasn't like, the what was it? Remember in Alabama when a guy threw up his hat, and the chair brawl, and they were smacking people with the chairs, and then the kid came swimming across the river. It wasn't like something like that. It was just, yeah. Let me get off of this because this is a little deep. Queen said we truly need healing with a real understanding. Right. And going, just one more thing, like, even with the jury, like, if I was in that jury, I would have thought back to the high school brawl where somebody really got hurt. Oh, and then there was another fight where a girl kept getting beat up. They kept jumping her. And the school knew. The parents knew. And I guess they could have did more, but one day the girl spit out a razor and slash, cut the girl's face up. And that's unfortunate, but you know, she could have like slit her throat and killed her and she bled out or whatever. But I don't think she was trying to like disfigure her face. She just wanted her to leave her alone. And she's a kid. And that's the best she could come up to defend herself. But again, you allowing people to run for office with these, you know, feeble minds. But now all of a sudden, yeah, they wave up Carmelo as if he's adult and charge him like so. I think he just made a bad decision. And it was unfortunately fatal for another kid. And I'm not taking away from the fact that another family lost a kid. But it's like in Newark, if that happens, if another kid 17 go intentionally, he's in a gang, blow another kid's brains out, he's only gonna get 15 years and be out. And you're like, what? Like this a little monster. But then you have the psychologists and everything that have the law, and like I said, the frontal lobe is not fully developed, not until 23. Then you got to consider the violence that kid endured all their lives and all of that, what made them do that. But yeah, it gets deep. Ms. J says, and this 17 coincides with MacGyver facing 17 years behind bars. The patterns don't lie. That part, feeble minds. Yeah, they those feeble minds were running for office. Like, what? Ms. J says it seemed extremely sinister that the whole conversation about Carmelo Anthony and the incident was major headlines during the Knicks playoff games with the legendary Carmelo Anthony, former NBA player. Right. Same name. Coincidental? I don't know. Queen said, yeah, that's crazy. We got to do more with these babies. I seen some things from the youth for a couple of days and all I could do is shake my head. Yeah. It's not to our benefit to have a future that's not smart. That's, you know, dumber than us. That's not good. Because when we get old and they take over, imagine what we're going to be experiencing. You know? Imagine. Yep. Fuji says it happens. It's just not exposed. Yep. But yeah, I'm gonna take this last comment and be up out of here. Queen says, I truly love my community. This is real for me. I love everyone, even when people think I don't. I'm just hard on my people because we can do better. I agree. We can do a lot better. Stop settling for less. We gotta stop settling for less. Love ourselves. Stop being self-destructive to ourselves. And when we stop doing that, we're going to be more constructive to each other and build. We got to build. Build that self-esteem too. Right. Kids that can't tie their shoes. And that's another thing. Yeah, they can't even, these kids, yeah. They don't want to wear sneakers because you have to tie them. Like, what? Okay. They're definitely not pushing their mind to think And you got to have some challenges like tying a shoe to push your mind to think. That's how you gain critical thinking skills, by solving problems. But yeah, Miss J says, yeah, Queen, I was just saying that yesterday. We gotta want more, be builders. Queen says, I hate the Crocs for them. Right, 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 right. And I thought, the Crocs, they were wearing it for the style, but no, they really wear them because they don't like tying their shoes or their sneakers. I wear them because they're comfortable and I just need to slide around a little bit. But other than that, I'm going to work in my shoes that I tie or whatever, my sneakers. Yeah, they're going in Crocs. They don't know how to tie their shoes. And we see this because we're actually involved and engaged in the community. So with that being said, this was fun. I'm going to check y'all out later. I'll be doing some specials. I'll do my best to go live at the inauguration. Hopefully I have a good internet connection. But it's been a pleasure. And I hope to see you all soon. But nonetheless, enjoy your summer. Enjoy your family. And love yourself. Love yourself. You gotta love yourself. Stop trying to, I gotta say this one last thing. Stop trying to save everybody else when you haven't saved yourself. And I'm not talking about being selfish or greedy. I'm talking about actually loving yourself, taking the time to appreciate yourself. And that's important. It's very important because y'all out here doing harmful and hurtful things because you don't love yourself. And I know that. I know that. Because when you love yourself, you're more constructive and you're constructive to others. But when you're self-destructive, like for an example, when people doing the drugs, that's self-destructive. Yeah, they call them victims of substance abuse. I get the lingo, the people first language, but you're fiend. We know those people as fiends, and they are fiends. They'll rob, steal, just to hurt themselves. And if they're willing to hurt themselves, there's nothing stopping them from hurting me, you, or anybody else. So that's why I'm promoting self-love. For that reason. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. You cannot save everybody. And that too. Because you have people who don't love themselves out there, they're hurting themselves. Then they out there trying to help other people and giving them wrong advice. And then get mad when that person is not giving back to them. You gave them nothing but bad advice. You gave them nothing but the same destruction that you've been giving yourself. Misleading. So, yeah, that's why they're not there for you. You're not there for yourself. So, they're not going to be there for you. You're not even really there for them. You just, I want to save everybody. I want to say, I love, no, you don't. You don't even love yourself. You got to love yourself first. And if you don't, you full of it. Yeah. Yep. Miss J said powerful words. Yeah. I'm telling you. And I even gauge myself what I'm doing. I'm able to walk away from crazy people and nonsense because I love myself too much. And yeah, when people talk junk to me, I talk junk back because guess what? I don't mistreat myself. So I'm not going to allow anyone else to mistreat me. And I got to check that. And that's why, sometimes I get a little spicy because I'm like, hold up. You want me to feel insecure about myself. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. For what? So you can feel good? Nah, it's not happening. So yeah, that's why I do a lot of pushback. People take it personal, but hey, I don't care because I love myself. Yep, Quinn, you're right. Yeah, you have to. Absolutely, you have to. You have to. Yep, self-care is important. Cannot and please don't believe anybody. Don't believe anybody who says all this nonsense to you and you see them being self-destructive. They're not gonna do anything that they said that for you because they're not doing it for themselves. Yep. This has been a great live stream season finale, but I'll see you all later for real this time. I'm getting off. I could keep going on and on. All right, y'all have a good night. This has been current exposure, and I'll see you all later.